Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today's Friday, March 6, 2020. College basketball, NBA, NHL look ahead to tonight and the weekend's games. NASCAR race for the weekend, and golf, and my best bets of the day. All right, we'll start in college basketball, go over yesterday's games, and look ahead to a very busy slate for today. So, without further ado, here we go. Winthrop over SC Upstate 106-70 in the Big South quarterfinal. Gardner-Webb over UNC Asheville 72-62 in the Big South quarterfinal. Mountain West quarterfinal. San Diego State over Air Force 73-60. Mountain West quarterfinal. Boise over UNLV 67-61. Big South quarterfinal. Radford over Charleston Southern 62-48. Number 25 Michigan over Nebraska 82-58. Number 19 Ohio State over number 23 Illinois 71-63. UConn over number 21 Houston 77-71. NC Central over NCAT 86-80. ASUN quarterfinal semifinal Lipscomb over North Florida 73-71. ASUN semifinal Liberty over Stetson 66-62. MVC first round Drake over Illinois State 75-65. Patriot League quarterfinal Bucknell over American 84-59. BU over Navy 69-63. Patriot League quarterfinal. Lafayette over Army 73-68 in the Patriot League quarterfinal. Patriot League quarterfinal Colgate over Lehigh 83-70. OVC quarterfinal Eastern Kentucky over Tennessee State 58-48. Norfolk over Morgan State 68-62. Bethune-Cookman over Florida A&M 72-70 in overtime. Coppin State over Maryland Eastern 63-60. Hampton over Longwood 78-53 in the Big South quarterfinal. UIC over Youngstown State 67-61 in the Horizon League quarterfinal. Green Bay over Oakland 78-73 in the Horizon League quarterfinal. Delaware State over Howard 188. Bama A&M over Grambling 58-57. Alcorn State over Prairie View 80-71. Jackson State over Alabama State 71-59. Southern over Texas Southern 89-74. Mountain West quarterfinal. Utah State over New Mexico 75-70. New Mexico State over Cal Baptist 83-50. UMK State over Utah Valley 61-51. Oregon State over Stanford 68-65. Memphis over Wichita 68-60. Washington over Arizona State 90-83. Northern Colorado over Montana 71-64. Montana State over Southern Utah 73-65. West Coast first round. Loyola Marymount over San Diego 75-61. Eastern Washington over Idaho State 175. Weber State over Idaho 72-64. OVC quarterfinal. Austin P over Eastern Illinois 76-65. MVC first round. Valpo over Evansville 58-55. Long Beach State over Cal Poly 80-73 in overtime. Santa Barbara over Cal State Fullerton 55-53. Hawaii over UC Davis 67-65. Portland State over Northern Arizona 80-66. Arizona over Washington State 83-62. Number 13 Oregon over Cal 90-56. Santa Clara over Portland 76-62 in the West Coast first round. And Wyoming over Nevada 74-71 in the Mountain West quarterfinal. All right, today's games, 1 o'clock ESPN Plus. Drake, Northern Iowa, MVC quarterfinal. UNI is giving 9.5. And that's what I have it as well. Gunpoint, Northern Iowa covers. MVC quarterfinal, Southern Illinois, Bradley through 30. ESPN Plus, Bradley's a favorite by 5.5. I have it 3. So I'm taking Southern Illinois in the points, but Bradley will win. SoCon first round, VMI Sanford, 5 o'clock ESPN Plus. VMI is a 3.5-point favorite. I have Sanford by 2. I think Sanford wins the game outright. 6 o'clock ESPN Plus, Big South semifinal, Gardner-Webb and Winthrop. Winthrop's a 5.5-point favorite. I have it by 7, so I'm going to take Gardner-Webb in the points, but Winthrop to win. 6 o'clock on ESPNU, Bowling Green hosts Buffalo. Bowling Green's a 2-point favorite. I have Bowling Green by 6, so I'm going to lay the 2 with Bowling Green. Kent State, Akron, 6:30, CBS Sports Network. Akron's a 5.5-point favorite. I have it 9, so I'm going to lay the 5.5 with Akron. Eastern Michigan versus Toledo, 7 o'clock ESPN 3. Toledo's giving 6. I have 3.5, so I'm taking Eastern Michigan in the points, but Toledo to win. Western Michigan, Central Michigan, 7 o'clock ESPN 3. Central Michigan's giving 7. I am going to take Western Michigan in the points. Georgia Tech, Clemson, 7 o'clock ESPN 2. Clemson's a 4-point favorite. I have Clemson by 1.5, so I'm taking Georgia Tech in the points. I think Georgia Tech is live. ACC Network, NC State, Wake Forest. NC State's an 8-point favorite at home. I have it NC State by 5.5, so I'm taking Wake in the points, although I hate that pick. Richmond, Duquesne, ESPN Plus. Richmond's a 1-point favorite. I have this as a pick, so I'm taking Duquesne in the point. I'm taking Duquesne wins outright. Niagara, Canisius, Fairfield, Monmouth, Iona, St. Peter, Siena, Monmouth, Brown, Harvard, Columbia, Princeton, Cornell, Penn, Yale, Dartmouth, NBC quarterfinal, ESPN Plus, Valpo, Loyola, Chicago. Loyola's a 6-point favorite. Or I have it 5. Or I have it 6. They have it 5. So I'm going to take Valpo in the points, but I don't feel good about it. Ohio, Miami of Ohio, 7:30, ESPN Plus, SoCon first rounds, the Citadel, Wofford. Wofford is giving 14.5. I have it Wofford by 10.5, so I'm taking the Citadel in the points, but I don't feel good about it. Eastern Kentucky, Belmont, 8 o'clock ESPNU, OVC semifinal. Belmont's giving 13. I am going to take the Eastern Kentucky to cover, but Belmont the win. Hampton, Radford, Big South semifinal. Radford's favored by 11.5. I have it by 14.5 because of home court advantage, or 14, I should say. So I'm going to lay the 11.5 with Radford. Ball State, Northern Illinois, 9 o'clock CBS Sports Network. Mountain West semifinal. Boise State, number 5, San Diego State. San Diego State's giving 9. I have it 11, so I'm laying the 9 with San Diego State. ESPN2, VCU, Davidson. Davidson's a 4-point home favorite. I have Davidson by 2.5, so I'm taking VCU in the points. William Marymount, San Francisco, West Coast, second round. San Francisco's given 7.5. I have it 9.5, so I'm going to lay the points. Missouri State, Indiana State, MVC quarterfinal. Missouri State's a 2-point favorite. I have Indiana State by 4. It's going to be Indiana State to win the game outright, the plus the 2. OVC semifinal, Austin P. Murray State, 10 o'clock ESPNU. Murray State's a 1.5-point favorite. I have it by 2, so I'm going to lay the 1.5 with Murray State. WCC second round, 11 o'clock. Santa Clara, Pepperdine. Pepperdine's a 3-point favorite. I have Santa Clara, or I have it as a pick'em, so I'm going to pick Santa Clara to win the game outright and take them plus the 3. 11:30 CBS Sports Network, Wyoming, Utah State, MVC, or MWC semifinal. Utah State's giving 15.5. I have 17.5, so I'm going to lay the 15.5 with Utah State, so I'm going to fade Wyoming again. Now I'm just going to do straight-up winners here, except for a couple. 12 o'clock on Fox, number 14, Villanova, Georgetown, Villanova. Number 17, Auburn, Tennessee, Auburn. Number 24, Wisconsin, Indiana, Indiana. Marquette, St. John's, Marquette. Northeast semifinal, Sacred Heart against St. Francis, Pennsylvania. I'm going to take St. Francis, Pennsylvania to move on, as I have them projected as a 5-point favorite. East Tennessee State's opponent is to be determined. I project it to be the Samford team, and I think that East Tennessee State will win and cover my projected number 21. Arkansas State and Louisiana, Sun Belt first round. I'm not going to do the picks for Sun Belt first round or any of the first rounds that start tomorrow because I'm going to do the podcasts tonight. So how about that? South Carolina, Vanderbilt. I'm going to go with South Carolina. Number 4, Baylor at West Virginia, 1 o'clock ESPN+. I'm going to go with West Virginia. They're due for like a big win because they've collapsed lately. I think they're just due. And I don't like how Baylor's played. Number 6, Kentucky at Florida. Florida. New Hampshire, UMBC's a AAC quarterfinal. 2 o'clock ESPN, 1 Texas at Texas Tech. I'm going to go with another upset. I'm taking Chris Beard and the Red Raiders. UTEP, Rice, Virginia Tech, Notre Dame, George Mason, Fordham, George Mason, LaSalle, St. Joe's, LaSalle, Georgia, LSU on ESPN2, LSU, Rutgers, Purdue, Rutgers is going to a bold choice there. NEC semifinal, Long Island, Robert Morris. I think Robert Morris wins, and I think that they will not cover my 8.5. I think LIU will cover my 8.5 number because I think it'll be a close game. 2:30 on Fox, number 18, all numbers 11, Creighton. I think Creighton wins, and they share the Big East title. SoCon quarterfinal, Western Carolina against Mercer. I have Western Carolina giving 2. I think they win. Colorado, Utah, 2:30 Pac-12 Network, Colorado. Alabama, Missouri, Alabama. Coastal Carolina, UT Arlington. USC hosts UCLA, 3/15 CBS. Taking UCLA. They're the better team right now. MVC semifinals to be determined. I think it's going to end up being Bradley, Northern Iowa, and I'm going to take Northern Iowa to move on. 4 o'clock ESPN, number 10 Louisville, and number 22 Virginia. I like how Virginia's played. I think they win that game outright. Big Ten Network, number 20, Penn State, Northwestern, Penn State. Marshall, UTSA, Northwestern, Central Arkansas. CAA first round, UNC, Wilmington, Drexel. Syracuse, Miami, ACC Network. I'm taking Syracuse on the road. Oklahoma State, Texas. I'm going to take Texas at home. Iowa State, Kansas State. ESPN Plus. I'm going to say Iowa State wins on the road, but I don't feel good about it. 2 games canceled due to the coronavirus. Chicago State, Utah Valley, and UMKC, Seattle. Boston College against number 7, Florida State. Florida State. A&M, Arkansas on SEC Network. A&M's home. I think that they pull off an upset here. Houston Baptist, A&M, Corpus Christi, Cal, Oregon State, Pac-12 Network. I'm going to say Oregon State wins. Idaho State, Idaho, 5 o'clock. AEC quarterfinal, UMass Lowell, Hartford. Weber State, Eastern Washington, 5:15. Abilene Christian, Incarnate Word. McNeese, Lamar at 5:30. Sam Houston State, Stephen at Boston. Mountain West final on CBS. I think it's going to end up being San Diego State against Utah State. And I'm going to say that San Diego State wins. 6 o'clock ESPN, North Carolina against number 12 Duke. I think Duke wins, but it'll be a closer than expected game yet again. Southern Miss, Middle Tennessee, Columbia, Penn, Cornell, Princeton, Grambling, Alabama State. SoCon quarterfinal. It's going to be Furman, and I'm going to say they'll play Wofford, and I think Furman will win. Northern Colorado, Montana State, Oklahoma, TCU on ESPN2. I'm going to say Oklahoma there. MVC semifinal, the other one. I think it's going to end up being Indiana State and Loyola Chicago, and I think Loyola Chicago will win that game. 6:30 Prairie View Southern, DePaul, Providence. I'm going to say that Providence wins here. They're playing pretty well and making themselves an at-large case. Ole Miss, Mississippi State, 6:30 on SEC Network. I'm going to say Mississippi State wins that game. CAA first round, James Madison, Alon at 6:30. Texas Southern, Alcorn State. Washington State, Arizona State, Pac-12 Network. Arizona State needs the game. They'll get it. 7 o'clock ESPN Plus, Georgia, Washington against number 3 Dayton. Brown, Dartmouth, Yale, Harvard. Southeast Louisiana, New Orleans. Jackson State, Alabama, A&M. SMU, South Florida. I'm going to say that SMU wins. Rhode Island, UMass. I'm going to take Rhode Island in a bounce back spot. Charlotte, Louisiana Tech. Western Kentucky, FIU. Summit League quarterfinal. Denver, North Dakota State. AEC quarterfinal, Maine, Vermont. AEC quarterfinal, Albany, Stony Brook. OVC championship, Saturday night, 8 o'clock, ESPN2. I'm going to say it ends up being what I predicted, Murray State versus Belmont, and I think Belmont will earn the first bid to the tournament. Old Dominion, UAB, St. Bonaventure, St. Louis. I'm going to say St. Louis wins. Temple, Cincinnati. I'm going to say Cincinnati. Cal Baptist, UT Rio Grande. Cal State, Bakersfield, Grand Canyon. Mississippi Valley State, Arkansas, Pine Bluff at 8:30. Chattanooga, UNC Greensboro, quarterfinal for the SoCon. I'm going to take UNC Greensboro in that one. And I think they'll cover my 5. Butler, Xavier, 8:30 Fox Sports 1. I'm going to take Xavier at home. Southern Utah, Montana, 9 o'clock, 9:30 Summit League quarterfinal. Purdue, Fort Wayne, South Dakota State. West Coast quarterfinal, 10 o'clock ESPN2. Pacific, I think, will play against San Francisco, and I think Pacific will move on. 10 o'clock ESPN, Washington, Arizona. I'm going to say that Arizona wins. Hawaii, Cal State, Northridge, 10 o'clock ESPN3. UC Davis, UC Riverside, Cal Poly, UC Santa Barbara. Sacramento State, Portland State, 10:30. Long Beach State, Cal State, Fullerton. 11 o'clock, Fox Sports 1, Stanford, number 13, Oregon. I'm going to say Oregon wins a close one. And then midnight Eastern, you have St. Mary's, and I think they'll be playing Santa Clara, and I think that St. Mary's will win by double digits in that one. Sunday, 12 o'clock on Fox, number 25 Michigan against number 9 Maryland. I'm going to say that Maryland gets on the right path and wins that game at home. CBS, Memphis, and number 21 Houston. I'm going to say Houston wins that game. CAA quarterfinal, Hofstra will be playing against somebody. Patriot League semifinal, Bucknell against Boston University. I'm going to say that Boston University will win. I can't believe that Bucknell picked off American. That's a stunner to me. And in the Big South final, I think you will see Winthrop against Radford, and I think Radford, due to the home court advantage, will go to the big dance. 1 o'clock Big Ten Network, Nebraska, Minnesota. I think Minnesota wins that game. ESPNU, East Carolina, UCF. I'm going to say UCF wins. CBS Sports Network, Lafayette against Colgate. I think that Colgate will win that game. I have them. I don't even have a number for that. I have to make that up because I had Army moving on, but whatever. I think Colgate moves on. The MVC final, I think, will be Loyola Chicago against Northern Iowa. I think Northern Iowa will win. That'll be at 2 o'clock on CBS. Delaware Charleston in the CAA quarterfinal. Lipscomb Liberty in the A-Sun final. I think Liberty will win that game. I don't have a number in front of me right now, unfortunately. UConn Tulane. I'm going to say that UConn wins. Tulsa Wichita State. 4:30 CBS, number 19 Ohio State against number 16 Michigan State. Fantastic game. I'm going to say that Michigan State gets the win because I like how they're playing headed into the big dance. CAA quarterfinal, William & Mary. We're playing somebody. SoCon semifinal. We don't know who will be in that game. I think one game that I have up in front of me could be Western Carolina against East Tennessee State. And then we can go with East Tennessee State. Number 18, Iowa against number 23, Illinois. I think Illinois bounce back spot gets the win here. Summit League quarterfinal, Omaha Oral Roberts. CAA quarterfinal, Northeastern Towson at 8:30. And at 9:30, Summit League quarterfinal, North Dakota against South Dakota. Now we'll do NBA. We'll look back on last night's results and look ahead and pick and, look at the weekend slate. Oh, it was a short slate last night. Nuggets over the Hornets 114 to 112. Clippers over the Rockets 120 to 105. 76ers over the Kings 125-108. And Raptors over the Warriors 121 to 113. All right, tonight's slate, 7 o'clock, you have the Hawks against the Wizards. 7:30, the Thunder at the Knicks. The Spurs at the Nets. 8 o'clock, the Jazz at the Celtics. The Pacers at the Bulls. The Magic at the Timberwolves. ESPN, the Heat at the Pelicans. The Pelicans are giving 1.5. I make this game Miami as I believe I had them written down as like a 2-point favorite in New Orleans against Zion and the Pelicans. They obviously worth Zion more than I do. I have him as a 2-point player. I probably should move him up as the season goes on, but the problem is that they're losing games, so I can't really make adjustments to Zion Williamson properly if they aren't performing up to expectations. So I have Miami by 2, and I'm going to take the Heat, and I'm going to take them to win outright. 8:30 Grizzlies Mavericks. 9 o'clock Trailblazers Suns, and at 10:30 ESPN Bucks Lakers. I have Lakers by a 0.5 point. They have it as a pick 'em. So I'm going to pick the Lakers in this game, and I think they'll win this game by 5 points. Saturday, 5 o'clock Rockets Hornets, 7 o'clock Jazz Pistons, 7:30 Nuggets Cavs, 8 o'clock Hawks Grizzlies, 8:30 ABC 76ers Warriors. I'm going to take the Sixers. And at 10 o'clock you have the Kings and the Trailblazers. Sunday, 3 o'clock Bulls Nets, 3:30 Pelicans Timberwolves, ABC Lakers Clippers, Mike Breen, Mark Jackson, Jeff Van Gundy on the call. Clippers are 2-0 against the Lakers this year. The Clippers have been playing a lot better with their full lineup intact. Because it's a Clipper home game, I'm going to pick the Clippers in this spot to win the game outright. 6 o'clock the Thunder at the Celtics, the Bucks at the Suns, 7 o'clock the Heat at the Wizards, the Pacers at the Mavericks, the Magic at the Rockets, 7:30 the Spurs at the Cavaliers, the Pistons at the Knicks, and 9 o'clock on NBA TV you got the Raptors against the Kings. Now we're going to do some NHL as we'll go over last night's big slate and look ahead to the weekend's slate. Rangers over the Capitals, 6-5 in overtime on a goal by Mika Zibanejad, who had 5 goals in the game. Penguins over the Sabres 4-2. Lightning over the Habs 4-0. Bruins over the Panthers 2-1 in overtime on a goal by Torrey Krug. Flyers over the Hurricanes 4-1. Sens over the Isles 4-3. Preds over the Stars 2-0. Blackhawks over the Oilers 4-3. Kings over the Maple Leafs 1-0 in a shootout. And Wild over the Sharks 3-2. Tonight's game, 7 o'clock Blues Devils, 7:30 Blackhawks Red Wings, 8 o'clock Golden Knights Jets, 9 o'clock Coyotes Flames, 10 o'clock Avs Canucks, and Maple Leafs Ducks. Saturday, 1 o'clock Hurricanes Islanders, Capitals Penguins, 2 o'clock Predators Stars, 4 o'clock Wild Kings, 7 o'clock Lightning Bruins, Devils Rangers, Canadians Panthers, Sabres Flyers, Senators Sharks, and 10 o'clock the Blue Jackets at the Oilers. Sunday, 1:30 Hurricanes Penguins, 5 o'clock Lightning Red Wings, 7 o'clock Golden Knights Flames, 7:30 Blues Blackhawks on the NBC Sports Network. I believe this is the game where all the females are calling, which is pretty cool, like AJ Malesko and Kendall Point, and there's another one. I'm going to take the Blues on the road. They're way better than Chicago this year. 9 o'clock Wilds Ducks, 10 o'clock Blue Jackets Canucks, and on NBCSN at 10 o'clock the Avalanche at the Sharks. I'm going to take the Avalanche on the road in that one. Now I'm going to talk about the Arnold Palmer Golf Invitational, and I'm just going to go over the standings as of right now. First place is a tie between Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler. Third place, Harris English, Jerry McDowell, Mark Leishman, and another golfer are all tied in third. Among other notables, Ricky Fowler's tied for 20th. You got a bunch of people tied for 31st. It's very early in the tournament. Tied for 48th is Xavier Schauffele, Zach Johnson, Brooks Koepka. So a couple big names in there. And Bubba Watson's among the projected cut, as well as Phil Mickelson, Tommy Fleetwood, among the big names among the projected cut for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. And if I had to pick a winner right now, it's almost definitely Rory McIlroy. All right, NASCAR race, Sunday 3:30 on Fox from Phoenix. Should be a really fun race. A lot of good drivers, obviously. Kyle Busch is a 4-1 favorite. Truex is plus 550. Harvick 6-1. Denny Hamlin 7-1. Ryan Blaney 9-1. Chase Elliott 10-1. Joey Logano 12-1. Brad Keselowski 13-1. Bowman 16-1. Johnson 16-1. Larson 16-1. Busch and Byron, Kurt Busch 25-1. Eric Almirola, Clint Bowyer, Eric Jones 33-1. And now we're in the long shots. I am going to take to win this race Joey Logano at 12-1. I really, really like. I think he's off to a good start this season. He's had some success at Phoenix in the past, so I'm going to go with Joey Logano to win the Fan Shield 500 from Phoenix. Best bets of the day brought to you by DraftKings. I went 1-1 yesterday. I looked good with Arizona State when they were up 10, or they lost outright. And then I took Charlotte getting the points. They lost by 2. They were getting a whopping 10 at home. College basketball, my best bet, I'm going to take Akron minus the 5.5 against Kent State. Akron's a really good team. I have them projected as a 9-point favorite. So I'm going to roll with Akron minus 5.5. And then my NBA best bet, I'm going to go over the lines really quickly compared to what I have. Then I'll announce my pick for the night. The Wizards are giving 3 at home against the Hawks. I have the Wizards by 5.5. The Knicks are getting 7 at home against the Thunder, and that's exactly what my line is. Brooklyn's giving 3.5 at home against the Spurs. I have it 5.5 due to the injury of LaMarcus Aldridge. Pacers minus 3.5 at the Bulls. I have this as 7, so there must be more injuries in that game than I thought. Pelicans, I talked about it giving 1.5 against the Heat. I have it +2, and I have Indiana by 7. Celtics giving 2.5 at home against the Jazz. I have it by a half point due to the injuries of Jaylen Brown and Gordon Hayward. Magic are 2-point favorites at the Timberwolves. I have it Orlando by 2.5. Dallas is a 7-point favorite at home against the Grizzlies. I have it by 5. Blazers Suns. I have the Blazers by 3.5 at Phoenix, and DraftKings has a 3.5. I have it 2.5. Lakers by a half against the Bucks. That's exactly what I have it. That's tough. All these lines I think are similar. I'm afraid to bet the Pacers, but I'm going to do it anyway. Although the Wizards feels like a safe bet at -3. But I just don't think the Bulls are very good. I could see this line going up when more players are announced probable. So I'm going to bet on the Indiana Pacers -3.5 in Chicago against the Bulls. That's it for the podcast. I'll be back tonight previewing and predicting some of the conference tournaments that get underway over the weekend. And then Monday, recapping everything that happened over the weekend. We'll talk about American Idol as well. Hope you guys have a great weekend, everybody.